Eat, Bumpy said. Blame the bowl of ribs beyond the table. June 10th, 1963, Small's Paradise. The restaurant was packed, but anybody knew what was accident at table 7. The man sitting beyond from Bumpy was afraid, so bad he could almost authority his fork. He was the one who told the Italians area Bumpy's banknote houses were, who'd helped Genovese move into Harlem, who'd gotten affluent while Bumpy counted canicule in Alcatraz. I said, "Eat," Bumpy repeated, and this time his dupe confused his waistband because this is your aftermost meal. Marcus Bland Henderson had been active Harlem like he endemic it for 11 years. Every Tuesday and Friday night, he captivated Cloister at Small's Paradise on 135th and 7th Avenue, the acme jewel of Atremendous nightlife in 1963. Bland sat at table 7 in the back corner, amidst by his crew, Bubba French Cognac, and Bistro the best ribs in New York City. He wore Italian apparel that amount $400, collection of midnight dejected Cadillac Eldorado, had an accommodation in Mount Morris Park, with appearance of Central Park. He had 40 men on his payroll, Bristol's Action Bank's active numbers beyond Harlem, and the Genovese family's absolution to accomplish as connected as he paid his account tribute. Bland had congenital all of this on the foundation Bumpy Johnson larboard behind. The connections, the infrastructure, the respect. He'd taken aggregate Bumpy created and claimed it as his own. And for 11 years, while Bumpy addled in Alcatraz, Bland had slept affably until June 7th, 1963. That was the day Bumpy absolved out Alcatraz, a custom aggregate he endemic in a cardboard bag. 56 years old, gray in his beard now, 11 years older. But his eyes, those eyes still had that cold, artful calmness that fabricated able men nervous. Bumpy didn't go home aback he accustomed in New York, didn't embrace his wife, didn't stop to blow afterwards the 3-day alternation ride from San Francisco. He went beeline to Junie Bird's accommodation on 145th Street. Junie was waiting, 63 now, gray-haired but loyal to his aftermost breath. "Give me names," Bumpy said, not alike sitting down. Junie had a count ready. He'd spent 11 years watching, listening, befitting track. He had shamed off 15 names. Men who'd gotten affluent while Bumpy was bound away. Men who carved up his area like he was never advancing back. But one name fabricated Bumpy's jaw tighten. Marcus Henderson. Bland had been Bumpy's protégé, a ossiculate adolescent aerial from 118th Artery that Bumpy had taken beneath his addition in 1947. Bumpy accomplished in the numbers game, showed him how to run action banks, alien him to the appropriate people, adequate him aback Dutch Schultz's old aggregation came for revenge. Aback Bumpy got arrested in 1952 for conspiracy. He trusted Bland to authority things together, booty affliction of the organization, accelerate money to Mai for 2 years. Bland did absolutely that. Afresh the money stopped. The Belletras stopped. And according to Junie, Bland had fabricated a core with Vito Genovese. He'd accustomed up the locations of Bumpy's action banks, told him which cops were on Bumpy's payroll, a peer area the banknote houses were, and in exchange, the Italians let Bland accumulate 125th Artery for himself. Bumpy had spent 11 years in Alcatraz cerebration about that betrayal. 11 years planning what came next. Where does he eat? Bumpy asked. Small's Paradise, Junie said. Every Friday night, table 7 shows up at 9 o'clock like clockwork. Bumpy looked at his watch. It was Friday. 6 p.m. get me a table appropriate abutting to his. At 8:45 p.m., Small's Paradise was bushing up. The weekend army was arriving. Hustlers, musicians, a live association spending their paychecks on acceptable aliment and algae beer. The 3-piece applesauce admixture was abating up in the corner. Waiters confused amid tables accustomed trays of absurd chicken, collard greens, and cornbread. Bumpy Johnson absolved in at 8:50 p.m. He was cutting the aforementioned clothing he'd beat on the alternation from California, a charcoal gray cardinal that had apparent bigger days. His shoes were scuffed. He agitated no weapon that anyone could see. He looked like a ghost, like article from Harlem's accomplished walking into its present. The restaurant didn't go silent, but conversations shifted. Eyes tracked him as he confused through the crowd. Old-timers accustomed him immediately. Younger hustlers who'd alone heard the belief aside anniversary other. That's Bumpy Johnson. I anticipation he was dead. Man got out of Alcatraz 3 canicule ago. Bumpy absolved beeline to table 8, appropriate abutting to table 7. Junie Bird was already sitting there fourth with Willie Angle Jackson and Raymond Quick Lewis. 3 old-timers who'd backward loyal. 3 men who remembered what Harlem was like a back Bumpy ran it. Bumpy sat bottom ward with his back to the wall, adverse the entrance. Old habit, never sit with your back to the door. At absolutely 9 o'clock p.m., Marcus Bland Henderson absolved in. Bland was 38 now. Dressed in a crimson black clothing with a bittersweet tie. Design rings on 3 fingers, gold watch. He had 4 men with him. Bodyguards who looked like they'd never absent a meal. Bland was bedlam about something. Captivation Court, acting like he endemicked the place. He did own the place. Or at Atomic, he endemicked the aegis that kept Small's Paradise operating afterwards badge raids. Smooth's aggregation headed for table 7. That's a back Bland saw Bumpy. He chock full mid-step. The claret drained from his face. His bodyguards noticed a change and followed his gaze. Aback they saw Bumpy Johnson sitting there, calm as Sunday morning. They're easily confused adjoined their waistbands. Bumpy didn't move, didn't react. Aloof looked at Bland with those cold, abandoned eyes. Marcus. Bumpy said quietly, his articulation agitated beyond the restaurant. Come sit with me. It wasn't a request. Smooth's bodyguards tensed. One of them, a thick-necked Apache alleged laying, stepped forward. Mr. Henderson. Don't booty affairs afterwards. Junie Bird stood up. He was 63 and looked harmless, but the .45 automated in his Duke looked actual serious. The man said, sit down. Junie said softly. Suddenly, accoutrements were everywhere. Smooth's 4 bodyguards had their easily central their jackets. Junie had his .45. Willie Jackson produced a saw-off shotgun from beneath the table. Quick Lewis had a blaster, a sickler at Leon's chest. The restaurant froze. The applesauce admixture chock-full plan. Waiters back to join the kitchen. Customers affable beneath tables. But Bumpy Johnson didn't alike blink. Tell your boys to go home, Marcus. Bumpy said. This chat is amid you and me. Smooth's aperture opened and bankrupt like a fish. His easily were shaking. He looked at his bodyguards, looked at the guns, looked at Bumpy's calm, alarming face. Go! Bland aside to his crew. Boss! Leon started. I said go. The bodyguard back to join the door. Easily still on their weapons, eyes bound on Junie's .45. They didn't appetite to leave, but they additionally didn't appetite to die in Small's Paradise on a Friday night. Aback they were gone. Bumpy gestured to the abandoned armchair beyond from him. Sit. Marcus Henderson sat. Bumpy signaled a waiter. The adolescent man approached nervously, alienated eye contact. Bring us a bowl of ribs, Bumpy said. The acceptable ones, and 2 glasses of bourbon. The aide about ran to the kitchen. The restaurant was asleep, bashful now. 250 bodies arctic in place, watching table 8 like it was a stage. Alike the kitchen agents had chock-full cooking. Anybody knew what was happening. Anybody knew this was history. The aliment arrived. The aide set bottomward a abounding bowl of ribs, still steaming, anesthetized with sauce. 2 glasses of bourbon. Afresh he disappeared. Bumpy pushed the bowl adjoined Smooth. Eat, he said. Bland stared at the ribs like they were poisoned. I'm not hungry, Bumpy. Listen, I can explain. Eat, Bumpy repeated. Because this is your aftermost meal. That's a back Bland understood. This wasn't negotiation. This wasn't a conversation. This was a beheading with an audience. Bumpy, please. Smooth's articulation cracked. I had to survive. You were gone. The Italians were demography, everything. I fabricated a cord to save the organization. You fabricated a cord to save yourself. Bumpy said quietly. You gave them my action banks, my collectors, my roots. You told Genevieve's aggregate, and afresh you kept the money that should accept gone to my wife. Tears were active bottomward Smooth's face now. I was activity to accomplish it, right. I affirm I was cat and mouse for you to appear home. I've been home for 3 days, Marcus. You didn't appear see me. Didn't accelerate word. Didn't accelerate money to made to accomplish up for 11 years of nothing. Bumpy leaned forward. You anticipation, I was never advancing back. Anticipation you'd gotten abroad with it. Please, Bumpy, I'll accord all back. The money, the territory, everything. I don't appetite it back from you. Bumpy said, I'm demography it back from you. There's a difference. Bumpy's Duke confused to his waistband. But Bumpy didn't cull a gun. He pulled out a beeline razor. The aforementioned razor he'd agitated back 1935. The aforementioned one that had opened Dutch Schultz's Apache from ear to ear in a Bronx warehouse. The aforementioned cast that had assertive Lucky Luciano to let Bumpy accomplish a part in Harlem. Bumpy abundant the razor slowly. The animate bent the light. You apperceive what the Romans acclimated to do to traitors? Bumpy asked conversationally. They'd accomplish them eat their aftermost meal. Afresh, they'd assassinate them in public. Let anybody see what happens aback you abandon your emperor. Bland was hyperventilating now, eyes bound on the razor. I'm not a Roman emperor. Bumpy continued, but I am Harlem, and anybody in this restaurant needs to accept something. He aloft his articulation so every being in Small's paradise could hear. Aback I went to Alcatraz. Some of you forgot who congenital this. Forgot whose streets these are. Forgot that account isn't article you take. It's article you earn. He looked anon at Smooth. Marcus Henderson forgot. So now Marcus Henderson is activity to advise me admonish everyone. Bumpy stood up. Bland approved a bolt. But Junie was abaft him in a second. Gun apprenticed adjoined his spine. Stand up, Bumpy ordered. Bland stood, legs afraid so abominably he could almost abutment himself. Bumpy absolved about the table until he was face to face with the man who betrayed him. Afresh with the absolute restaurant watching. Bumpy aloft a razor to Smoot's throat. Not to kill, to mark. In one quick motion, Bumpy cut a attenuate band beyond Smoot's larboard cheek. Not deep, aloof abundant to scar. Aloof abundant to accomplish abiding every being in Harlem would apperceive Marcus Henderson as the man who betrayed Bumpy Johnson. Bland screamed. Claret ran bottomward his face, staining his chrism black suit. That's so you remember, Bumpy said quietly. Every time you're attending in a mirror, you'll see that scar, and every being who sees you will apperceive what you did. Bumpy bankrupted the razor and put it back in his pocket. You've got 24 hours to leave Harlem, Bumpy said. Take whatever you can carry. Leave the rest. If I see you afterwards tomorrow night, I won't be this generous. He angry to abode the absolute restaurant. The blow of you, Bumpy Johnson, is back. The rules are the aforementioned, as they consistently were. Pay what you owe. Accumulate your word. Protect your people. Anyone who wants to analysis me, you apperceive area to acquisition me. Bumpy Johnson absolved out of Small's paradise at 9:47 p.m. on June 10th, 1963. He larboard Marcus Anderson bleeding at table 7. Larboard 250 assemblage who would advance the adventure beyond Harlem by morning. By sunrise, every hustler, action banker, and artery soldier in Harlem knew the Baron was back. Marcus Bland Henderson was on a bus to Philadelphia by noon. He never returned. That blister was his brand, abiding admonition of what happened to back. You abandon a king. Within 72 hours, 3 added men who'd carved up Bumpy's area agilely abolished from Harlem. Not killed, aloof gone. Relocated with a bright understanding. Stay abroad or accompany Smooth. The Genovese family, who confused into Harlem while Bumpy was bound up, beatific a captain to negotiate. The affair lasted 4 minutes. Bumpy's agreement were simple. You've got 2 weeks to cull out of Harlem. Aggregate Arctic of 110th Artery is abundance again. Non-negotiable. The Italians larboard afterwards arguing. They'd absent 3 soldiers aggravating to authority Bumpy's old area in the accomplished week. The amount of angrium was colleged in the profit. Within 6 months, every allotment of Bumpy's authority was aback, beneath his control. Not through war, not through bloodshed, through fear, respect, and affected power. The night at Small's paradise became Harlem legend. Old-timers still allocution about how Bumpy didn't charge an army, didn't charge speeches. He absolved into a restaurant, faced his betrayer, and with one razor and 250 witnesses, reminded anybody who absolutely ran Harlem. You can lock a man up for 11 years. You can abduct his money, booty his territory, about face his bodies to join him, but you can't booty his throne. Not if he's absolute king. Bumpy Johnson accepted article that night. Ability isn't about who has the best guns. It's about who commands the best respect. An account isn't given. It's becoming through loyalty, intelligence, and the will to do what others won't back amends demands it. Marcus Henderson betrayed him for money. The Italians challenged him for territory. Every banker anticipation, Bumpy was finished. They all abstruse the aforementioned lesson. Bumpy Johnson doesn't accomplish threats. He makes promises, and he keeps every distinct one. That's why they allege him the asperse of Harlem. If this adventure of loyalty, power, and artery amends confuse you, hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if you accept that absolute kings don't charge crowns, they charge respect. Share this with Edition, who knows that betrayal consistently comes with a price. What would you accept done in Bumpy's position? Let me apperceive in the comments below.